All right. Right. So, guys, it's been a while. What's it been
Mhm.
like a couple months or something like that? No, it's let's see. The season started in October. It's been a bit of a month.
Mhm.
So the Penguins started great, and then everybody got sick. and now, and now everybody's getting better, and the team's getting better. Are we bad,
Eh,
right?
Sounds about right.
Right? That's basically what's happening. How do you guys feel about the Penguins?
Not surprised.
I'm not surprised about what.
Anything. I'm not, I mean, I think COVID or not, I think they would have started well and then dipped and then come back. And it's weird because it's like they had a great, I don't want to say great past two games, but solid past two games. You know, they still, I mean, Jari looked phenomenal. Um, I think they still have work to do, obviously, but that's why they have an 82 game season. So, um, you know, obviously they're way out of playoff contention right now, but like you said, they lost what, 8 players due to COVID plus Coach
Plus
Sullivan.
the coach, yeah.
You know, I go back to that Ottawa game when they got absolutely destroyed. And games like that are what make or break teams. And I think they have recovered really well from that game. But again, it's only really been 2 games. We'll see how they do tonight. And that's how I feel in a nutshell. What about you, Jen? I know you're just itching over there.
uh-huh. I mean, I'm not excited about beating Montreal. They're a horrible team, and we were sloppy and we were terrible in that game as well. So, was I happy about the 2 points? Sure, but I was really disappointed with their play. Now, our last game against the Leafs, I thought the Leafs were going to steamroll us, which they didn't. But the Leafs didn't actually play the way they've been playing. So, I mean, again, I was happy with the 2 points, but this team is lacking chemistry big time. And I mean, okay, so we've dealt with some injuries, some illnesses, some recovering, this, that, and the other, but it still feels like there's something off. When I watch them play, basically all I see is very disconnected, sloppy, and rushed play. I mean, our power play is atrocious. Jari's been good, but I'm still not sold on him being a starter in this league. I mean, I guess I'm normally not the pessimistic one when it comes to this team. I try not to be despite everything. And believe me, that's hard. But I'm not excited about them yet. Wins are wins.
Yeah.
I mean, we played a really crappy team in Montreal, and I mean their goalie isn't even NHL caliber. So like might have had a different effect. And I think there were out quite a few players too in that game. Either way, we had we had a 6-0 finish against Toronto, I'd be a little bit more excited. But there's so much wrong with this team. Like this energy is off. It just to me, it doesn't feel where it needs to be for this team to be considered a contending team.
Well, and to bounce off your point, the third period against Toronto, I feel like they got lucky because they had that 5-on-3 at the end and they got lucky. I mean, they were just like, I actually was able to watch most of the game Saturday, shocker of the year. And they just looked, I mean, the Leafs didn't want to be there and the Penguins wanted to be there just enough. But like you said, it was like they're trying too hard, I think. I think they're trying to force something that's not there. And that's why I say the Ottawa game was a make or break, is because the Ottawa game showed us everything wrong with this team.
I think what we need to do, what this team needs to do is kind of like go back to the basics, right? And just play the game they love and start building off that. I mean, these 2 wins are great for the morale. And if they can continue that, I mean, Winnipeg's going to be a tougher team to play tonight. I'm sure of it. But I think ultimately we need to see this team slow things down, kind of go to that, that New York Islanders style of game and just play, tic-tac-toe hockey, if that's for lack of a better word, and then start build off that, get stronger and stronger. They don't communicate out on the ice enough, and that's a huge problem. Like the turnovers, this, that, and the other. It drives me nuts watching this team play when I know how good they could be. And it's like, you see some of the post-game interviews after the wins, and this team isn't even that happy. Something's off. So I think going back to the basics, it's early enough in the season that they can slowly build, so that when we get into the final stretch after the Olympic break, if we go, fingers crossed, they can have this longevity. But right now, as from what I see, it's some of the most painful hockey I've watched. Like, not all players, granted. I mean, Letang's been great. Jeff Carter, sorry, this is hard for me. This is so hard.
What did Jeff Carter do to you?
What? She's a Sharks fan.
I was a Sharks fan.
Jeff. That's why it hurts you to. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been phenomenal for us, and I can't. He's probably been the strongest leader we've had on this team. Even with Mr. 87 back in the lineup, he's been really good for this team. And I mean, there's a few other players that have been great. But it feels so broken to me. It's like putting together. Do you remember back in high school or in elementary school when you had to play floor hockey and all the sticks went in the middle and the sticks were separated? Mm-hmm. Anyone play like this or pickup hockey? You get the idea, right?
Yes.
And you're put together with a team of people that you'd know, but you have never played with. This is what it feels like when I watch the Penguins play.
That's
yeah. I do feel that chemistry was not a factor in roster decisions or acquisitions. And I think we said that in the offseason.
But it's basically the same team.
This is what I mean.
They didn't have chemistry last year.
Okay. So it's a continuation of last year.
I mean, let's face it. They were the number 1 seed last year, but they didn't have chemistry. So it's the same thing.
Chemistry is so important.
And then you add Brock McGinn, who's a branded Tanev light, and I hesitate to say that because there's no replacing Tanev.
Okay, but he's doing all right.
No, McGinn's doing fine. But remember we said in the last podcast that one thing that we were all worried about, and we agreed on this, was the lack of personality in the locker room. And that's exactly what Jen's saying. I mean, even when you watch their post-game interviews and you watch the post-game celebrations, like Jen said,
painful. It's so stiff, it's mechanical. There is no life in this hockey team. There's no life in it.
They're robots.
Yeah, and it's like you're not going to go far, Pittsburgh. It's not going to happen for you until 1, you find the fun in the game. 2, you start learning to trust each other out on the ice, and 3, you communicate more.
They don't have anybody in the locker room who has the firepower.
Isn't Cullen still part of the organization?
Yeah, but remember, he's in the front office.
Let him down there and just get them pumped up.
Like,
you don't need to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a player, because Sullivan isn't the pump up kind of coach. It's so frustrating. I have hope for this team because the talent is there. I'm worried as heck what's going to happen when Gino comes back, because that's, everybody's all over the moon about Gino. I'm so over him, it's not even funny. No offense, Joe, but this game is about winning. We want to win. Right. So we got to break down our game.
Go ahead, scared. I'm scared when Gina comes back, because it's like, we're right back to the old bad habits. And
it's good. Yeah. And it's going to, I don't know if it's going to shift the mentality in a good way. It's probably going to go in the wrong way, but all this that I'm saying are all things that can be corrected. We don't need to be on the ice practicing our moves. Every player knows how to shoot the puck. Every player knows how to, pass the puck. Every player knows how to do this. We need to do some team building, some morality building, and, get to know each other again. Sure, you know each other, blah, 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 but really break things down. Have more team dinners, just the players. No extra, no coaches, no this, no that, just the players. Bond. They need to bond. They need to learn to love each other and make this more of a family feel. Because right now it feels like, it's bantam hockey, first season, and nobody knows anyone, and everyone's like, there's no heartbeat. You know what I mean? There's no heartbeat in this team.
So they're just coworkers. They're basically just
Mhm.
coworkers that work together.
That
And they
aren't
need
even
to be-
happy to be working.
Yeah, and they need to be brothers. Remember when they used to go to, what was that place? They would
They
go
went to Banff one year. Yeah, they used to do trips. I was going to say
they would
that.
do
They used to
team
do
building
trips every year.
exercises just for
Mhm.
this, to build camaraderie and morale and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, it needs to be done, and it needs to be done something weekly. I mean, weekly. No phones, dinners. Just dinners are good. Or team weight room sessions. Just break it down and become, like you said, Joe, brothers. Because you know what? You cannot go very far when you play mechanical hockey. It's not going to win you games because the other teams, like, look at the game against the Caps that we played. The last game we played against the Caps. Didn't we play them?
Yes.
Or was
Yeah, that game was
Yeah,
bad.
they killed us.
They killed us. I mean, like, sure, they have half our old team on their roster now, but the Capitals are still a strong team. They stayed strong, but they know how to beat us based on our disconnection. So from what I'm watching, we lack connection, we lack fluidity, and we lack, like, chemistry, of course, all built in together. And I mean, I don't know how many passes go unanswered or unreceived. It's like, and the follow through, there's a lack of follow through. And I mean, I could pick another player's game to death right now, but I don't know if I should, because he's been in 3 games so far. But I mean, you're professionals, guys, and you're paid a lot of money to do a job. And to me, you're being overpaid, every single one of them, except for maybe Jeff Carter.
And I want to bounce off the Capitals thing for a minute, because we make fun of the Capitals for having kind of the same issues as the Penguins in terms of having so many players who've been there for a long period of time and, the continuity aspect, right? But I've noticed I've watched a fair amount of Capitals games this year. They seem to have an extra jump. They seem to be, they were offended by what happened in the playoffs last year, and they seem to be hungry. And I don't know if it's just because Ovechkin's going for Gretzky's record.
100% it does. 100%. But
I know that has a lot to do. I know that has a lot to do with it. But I feel that the whole team, Ovechkin's always been a firepower guy, right? And there's been this renewed sense of energy, and the whole team is following him. Yeah, and keep in mind, yes, the Capitals have no goaltending, and they're still playing like a team because they want to be there.
This is what the Capitals do every year. They dominate in the regular season.
Oh, of course,
so did we.
Of course.
They win.
So did we.
They almost win the President's Trophy every single year. And then
either the Capitals are one and the same. Washington. Yeah, the Penguins and Capitals are literally one and the same. So, I mean, I don't think it's fair to really criticize the Capitals right now, because let's face it, the Penguins are on the outside looking in, and the Capitals are having fun. And
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The Capitals, they bought into our weaknesses the last time we played, and they dominated. And you can't become that team that's easily, like, you got to leave a little bit of fear, leave fear in the other teams, not knowing, like, be intimidated by that connection. Know that when each line 1 through 4 comes on the ice, that it's not going to be an easy time. But we look like bloody, like, beer leaguers. Like, I'm sorry, but I've watched minor hockey more put together, the team more put together than this Penguin team. And yes, it's still early, but I'm not using that as an excuse. I want to see this team get better and better and better and better each and every single game. We're not going to win them all, and that is fine. But blowing out weak teams, I'm not calling the Leafs weak because they're not, but they didn't play so well actually against us. But blowing out weak teams it's not going to do it, because when it comes down to it, we're just going to either not make the playoffs or we're going to be swept in the first round. Like, a lot has to happen in order for it to be avoided, and it needs to start now.
You two are way too harsh. I think.
No. Why? Because here's the thing. There are high expectations from them every single year. And let's face it, they've been perennial cup contenders, allegedly, for years. Okay? In the bubble, they forgot to show up. They left their stuff in the US. last year, we've already had that conversation, but the
Last
bottom
year
line
was
is
all Jari.
but the bottom line is the past 3 or 4 years, something's been missing. They haven't had that will to win. And that's the thing. If you don't have the will to win, nothing else matters.
If I were to put one thing on it, I would say it's Patrick Hornquist. I think he was the glue. He was that guy.
We had one every year. We had one. I mean, even Tanev was that guy. And I mean, maybe in another season they could have been better. And we had prior to that, we had, Pascal Dupuis was that guy. Marc-Andre Fleury was that guy.
Bill Guerin in his short time.
Yeah, I can only speak as far to 2015, but I mean, we've always had one of those players. And when I'm looking at the roster, I'm thinking Jeff Carter could be that guy. But Jeff Carter seems to be more of a fan favorite than he does a team favorite, which, so hard.
Jeff Carter is not the type of, I will say this because I've been following Jeff Carter for years, not because I've wanted to, but because of, just how it happens, right? Jeff Carter is not a very vocal guy. He's not an energetic guy. He tends to lead by example. That's his MO, and that's completely fine. And I think that's not a problem because the Penguins have a lot of those guys, right? Obviously 87, Carter, Letang even. But I think back to the Penguins, the past 15 years or so, they've always had, as Jen said, a glue guy, or you did as well. Hornquist.
Guerin,
I think
Colin, Hornquist.
Gary Roberts.
Gary
back
Roberts,
in the day.
Love Gary Roberts.
They always, or even like Peter Sikora when he was there, they always had somebody.
This is no indictment on Crosby's leadership. He is a great leader. He's a great captain, and he just leads in a different way. What do you think, Jen?
Correct.
Nope.
Nope,
not buying it. Nope. He's declining in every aspect of his game. He is not doing the job he's being paid to do. And whether that be, and you know what, I'm going to speak honestly here. When you come back from an injury or a surgery later on in life, fear sets in. We saw it with Letang. Luckily, he got out of that. And so could Sidney. But right now, Sidney is horrible. He's not playing Sidney Crosby style hockey.
That goal, he just came back from surgery. He's still getting, he's still getting back his legs and stuff. Yeah, he's going to suck now. Professional in 17 seasons, and he's had come back from a lot of injuries. And that goal he had the other night, that wasn't anything special. It was right place, right time. Listen to me. This kid, and I'm using the kid loosely because he behaves like one sometimes, has lost his confidence in himself, his confidence in his game, and he's not following through. He's coming back from injury. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but you're a professional and you're paid a lot of money. You need to keep that mental aspect of the game sharp, and you have to continue to believe in yourself. And you want to know something? If he's going to let fear set in, he's come back from worse injuries and just blown things away. I think when it comes to Sidney, he's got to do a little bit of soul searching, but I'm definitely not giving up on him because I still stand by and say he's one of the best hockey players, hands down, of all time. And it sucks to have to watch him struggle so much. But some people are like, oh, well, he's not so good on the dot because he's coming back from injury. Sorry, but he wasn't good on the dot last season at all either. He was falling on faceoffs. Sidney Crosby has lost some confidence. The boy's game is shaken, but it's not irreversible because he knows what he is capable of doing. It comes down to belief, and his confidence has been shaken. Next 10 games, what do you think the record is going to be?
Who are we playing?
Okay, here's the plan. Winnipeg tonight at Winnipeg. That's at Winnipeg. Home to Vancouver.
We'll beat that one.
At the Islanders, what the heck's going on with the Islanders? They're in last place.
You missed Seattle. Where'd you go? What month are you in?
Am I in the wrong one? No.
Oh, okay. No, I went wrong.
Home to Montreal. That's obviously a win. At Calgary. Calgary's
don't
good.
say obviously a win.
Yeah, don't say
Montreal is a joke. Yeah, there are no obvious
Montreal
wins.
had one less win than us going into that game. Remember that.
Okay, and then looks like a West Coast swing at Edmonton, at Vancouver, at Seattle.
I'm
and
gonna
then
say
and then
4
at
and
Washington,
2.
home to Anaheim.
I'm gonna say we're gonna. I can't break.
2.
I'm gonna say 4 and 6, but I'm not breaking the overtime
Okay.
losses.
I'm saying 8 and 2. I'm telling you, I think they're gonna go on a hot streak. I think.
I don't know because
I know. So
I'm with Jen on this. It's like I still think they're going to.
we get shaken and we lose a game. Say we go and play Vancouver, and they're horrible right now. So we go to Vancouver.
Yeah.
No, we're home against Vancouver this week on Wednesday. So say we go home. Say we beat Winnipeg tonight, which I'm not sold that we will, but we do. So we're on a 3-game win streak. And then we go home and play Vancouver, and they beat us 6-4 or 6-2. That is going to shake the whole thing up. So to say they're going to go 8 and 2, it's pretty bold. I mean, I'm still not sold on this team being, stronger than they are weak.
I think all the problems are because half the team was sick. Sid was injured. He's not that great now. He's getting there.
No, he's not.
And he is.
He's not.
This
One
is
shot in a game. His face-off is at 33%, 25%. He's not getting there. He needs to just throw himself into the game again and trust himself. And I mean, I'm hopeful because I know who he is and I know what he's capable of, but it has to happen now because we kind of have this motley crew of a hockey team right now. It's kind of similar to what we had back in the 2 cups. I'm not saying that it's not possible, Joe. I'm telling you 130% this team will make the playoffs. They will, but they have a lot of work ahead of them to do. And we're not there yet. When you sit down and you watch this game from an analytical position, and I don't mean stat analytical, but from an actual analytical, like for me as a coach, when I watch, because I break down their game and I take notes every single game. I've done it for 6 years now. And the main problems that this game is that this team has is they're not together. They're not on the same page, for lack of a better word. So that is the first thing that they need to do before they're going to start going on a win streak. But they can do it because they do have the talent there.
All right. Well, Jari is playing really good right now.
Is Jari confirmed to start tonight? Because there was talk that okay.
You kind of have to.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, you kind of have to ride the hot goalie, right? But I mean, Penguins have a horrible history.
Smith is horrible.
They'll play to Smith when they go on in Vancouver. Vancouver is just
Winnipeg is just such a tough place to play, and the Penguins have been horrible there.
Yeah, I'm not confident about tonight's game.
No, that is in my eyes, that's one of the toughest places to play in the league.
Unless they solved their chemistry issue in the last 2 days, which is possible. They could have had a good chat, sat down and said, boys, okay, we're winning games, but we're not feeling good after these wins. What's got to change here? So you never know. They could have had some time to reflect. I want this team to do well, Joe. I know you got a little upset with me in my pessimistic ways here, but I mean, I've been studying this game for 3 decades, and I know what I know, and I know what I see, and I know what I need to see to be sold on a team. This team doesn't have that special quality that we had during our back-to-back cup runs, but we do have the talent. And Jari is finally, he's doing a little better. I think he's ranked 20th.
Yeah,
for goalies right now.
2.17 goals against, 9.927 save percentage. Those are good.
Very respectable number. Yeah, those are good numbers.
Then you got to look at those goals he does let up, and some of them you're just like, come on, bud.
Well, then we're screwed.
What I'm gonna say on Jari's stats is let's come back at the Olympic break to see if those numbers have held. Right, the numbers are great for now, but let's see if he can sustain that.
Yeah, it's a sustainability thing.
That's my opinion because this is, if I'm not is this his first season as like the true starter in an 82 game season?
Yeah,
because they kind of split in 2020. So talk to me in February, and then I'll have a better.
It's a long way away.
I am every year.
Talk to me in February.
It's always we always come back to that.
But with goalies, and Jen can attest to this more than any of us can, I compare it to catchers in baseball, right? when you have a new catcher in baseball who hasn't caught the whole season, same with the new goalie who hasn't, been in net for a chunk of the whole season, you have to, it's not just about, it's the mental and the physical toughness, right? It's about their conditioning, are they susceptible to injuries, which we don't know this because he hasn't been in net as a starter for a full 82 game season. That's why I say, Jari's numbers are great right now, but I'm still not going to form an opinion on him because we're too early in the season to really get a good feel. Am I happy with his play right now? Yes. But like I said, talk to me in January, February.
Okay. Well, right now he's played 14 games and DeSmith has played 3. And in those 3 games, DeSmith has been horrible.
Yes, he has.
This cannot.
I know how hard it is to have confidence, to believe in yourself when your team doesn't believe in you. That is the hardest. The backup goaltender is the absolute hardest position to fill on a team because you're not getting as many games. And when you do play and you lose, it just shatters your confidence. So it's hard. Casey DeSmith is not as bad as he has shown. I mean, we've seen some games of him in the past and just like unbelievable hockey. But this game, this is why I always go back to this mental aspect of the game and how it's more mental than physical, because you get in your head. Just watch Sidney on the dot. He's in his head. He's not controlling that. It's the same thing when you look at a backup goaltender. They finally get their time to shine, but they're shaken. They're a little, they're raw. And I think Casey DeSmith has potential, but I mean, he's lost the belief in himself. He's lost, it's tough. It's tough.
Then get someone else because they need a backup.
You think?
Well,
this has been the problem.
but DeSmith he was okay being the backup for like the past 2 or 3 years. Now he's not okay with it.
Because like I said, it's hard, Joe. It's like me and you, we work for the same place, right? Okay. And no, let's change that. Okay, we're in a play. I'm the star and you're the understudy. Okay. And I'm done sold out shows for 3 weeks in a row and I lost my voice. So Joe, the understudy, you come in and it's your time to shine. You know how hard it's going to be for you? You know how hard it's going to be for you to perform your best because 1, your nerves. 2, you've got to live up to the star because the fans or the audience are going to be disappointed. They're not getting the star. I should have reversed it. You're the star. I'm the understudy. I know I'm the understudy now. I know that I've got the amount of pressure on me is huge. And then not to mention that the second star is, Al Pacino, which is this huge, and I'm comparing Al Pacino to Sidney Crosby. So you've got this huge superstar that I've got to, impress as well and play up to his expectations, up to his level. It is so difficult to be in that role where you've got so much on your plate, but not enough to maintain it. You know what I mean? Like, I think the thing with Kate, it's all a confidence thing, and it's great to see Jari playing well, but our new goalie coach needs to send a little love over to Casey DeSmith because if we want to go far, we need to have 2 good goaltenders.
I wonder
my finger for some reason.
That's what's going on.
That is exactly what's going on because Josh Yeo just released an article saying that Ron Hextall had a nice talk with Jari in the offseason, but there was no mention of DeSmith. None.
What the heck?
Okay. Well,
None.
Hey, sorry, but if that's a situation, if a new goalie coach comes in and says we fix Jari and DeSmith can go to hell, I'm perfectly okay with that. I would be okay fixing the main guy and not the backup. Until
then Jari gets hurt.
Exactly, and that's the problem. That's why I keep on going back to the catcher thing because I was a, softball catcher and I'm a big baseball person. It's the same exact concept. It's the same exact concept. So so let's say I'm the backup catcher, okay? Because I've been both the starter and the backup catcher for different. I've been in that situation where my mental game was not there, okay? I've been in that situation. I understand what DeSmith is going through, right? So you're on the sidelines, you're waiting, you're like, I know I can do this. And then you get in there and you're just like, what the heck is going on? Why am I not with it, right? I think that's what the Smith is going through.
Too much
And
pressure.
like Jen said, it shatters you when you don't get the opportunity. It's this vicious cycle. You don't get the opportunity. And then when you do get the opportunity, you fail because you're so hard on yourself.
Yep, exactly. But can we talk about something good for a minute?
Yes, please. Let's talk about something good. This is a very depressing episode.
Evan Rodriguez. Is that his name? Aaron. Evan?
Yeah.
Evan Rodriguez.
Evan.
Yeah.
Evan.
How good has he been?
Second
Is it just
in
me?
points.
He's been so good. He's been this life. He's been this, like, every time he takes the ice, I used to get excited to watch Sydney when he got on the ice. I was like, all right, let's go. It's time. It's go time, right? No, man. It's when Rodriguez gets on the ice or Carter. Jesus. Rodriguez has been dynamic. He's been a complete player. He's got this energy to his game, and it's like, it's exciting. I'm excited.
How about Zucker?
I think he can.
My dog just reacted and he said,
Your dog is not a Zucker fan, I guess. I heard
he literally
that.
just groaned.
Your dog's like,
in the same way. I think
He literally
Zucker,
just groaned.
I think Zucker or Zucker, whatever his name is, Smuckers. It's his new nickname, Smuckers. He's underplaying himself. I think he can play better.
Yeah, I think there's like, he's definitely talented. I think it's a confidence thing with him.
Also, too, he could be that
guys.
role that we need. He could be that energy role because he's got that personality. But for some reason, he's keeping it, stifled. For some reason.
No. Can I pose a question here? And I know it may be a little off base, but I want your guys' opinion on this. Because of the alleged pending sale of the Penguins, what do we think the impact would be on the locker room, if any?
I don't think there'll be any impact on the locker room this year. But
I don't think so.
I think the big question is,
if Mario was I'm worried about long term.
Malkin and Letang. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried. I think the this new owner, I think, is going to be fine. I don't think they're gonna.
LeBron James
sell it. Yeah, LeBron.
Joe, you're glitching a bit.
That's okay. I am too.
What happened? I hear me, and I hear me coming back. I don't like that. Ooh, what's going on with me?
Can we just take a minute to appreciate your room? Because, like, I've never been more turned on in my life looking at your background.
Oh my God. Okay.
Like, it's beautiful, though. Like,
I just found this the other day. It's actually
little mini helmet.
It's actually an alarm clock. There's an alarm clock in there.
Oh,
that has to be from the Barrasso era.
It is. It is.
Oh my God.
And I mean, I'm not even. I didn't even show you the hockey part of this, where I have like a whole wall of starting lineup figures. One of them is Barrasso. One of them is Patrick Lalime. One of them is Luc Robitaille.
Want to see what I found recently? It's a little dusty. I mean, I've only been a Pens fan for 6 years, but ready? Oh, look at this bad boy.
Ooh, very cool.
He got it for me for Christmas one year because he's like, "Oh, it's Penguins. You'll like that." And I mean, I don't wear watches because I don't know why I don't, but yeah, I found some Penguin swag. But your room is phenomenal.
Swag is all downstairs.
And then, of course, my this is actually made. This is a quilt that was made just for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have sweet people.
Yeah, my audio is really bad, but I have a feeling if I leave, I'll be okay because it
feels fine. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway, I think the new owner will be fine, but I wonder what will happen with Malkin and Letang.
I think I'll go to Florida.
Where all the
I mean,
retirees go to the Panthers.
Well, his wife lives there and she's happy in Florida, so I think. What did I just say?
See,
I mean,
I think I think there might be a sentimental reason why the previous owner or the current owner might want to keep, the stars together, and maybe another, owner might just look at it analytically and say, these guys don't have it anymore, or they're not, they're not, they're it's not feasible to pay them this much because they're old. So, and I'm okay with that. I would want somebody to look at it analytically and not with sentimental reasons.
Correct.
You
and
got
that's
it
how
right.
I feel. That's how is, it'll be nice to have fresh blood because I feel like ownership has maybe been complacent.
Can we get a new GM too?
I was going to say,
what the heck, Ron? What are you doing there, bud?
I think the person that's most in jeopardy is Hextall. If you have a new owner, what about who?
Morehouse.
Yeah, he'll be gone too.
Less house is a good thing.
And I would be A-okay with that.
Yeah. I don't know much about the ownership except for, of course, Lemieux, and he's not my favorite person on the planet right now, even though he's my favorite. I mean, I've always been Team Lemieux over Gretzky before the Pens came into my life, but right now he's on that, that SHIT list. But I think we need to look at our GM. He's been here for what? 6 months? 5 months?
Since January, I think, right?
That's the thing is, since
almost a year.
Since what's his face? Rage quit, but
January.
Remember me? You thought he was like a double agent?
I might still think that.
I still believe that. Because you've got a very successful, okay, whatever, Hextall had a good career. He was a good goalie. Why do we have so much difficulty with this team in our goalie department? Yes, Jari's been playing good now, but that's just now. What is Hextall doing? We've already complained about this. We lost a couple good players that, shifted that dynamic of our team. Because last season, as we were building up towards the playoffs, I was excited to watch them. They were good. They were, they were like, yeah, this is good. This is exciting. But Hextall, what are you doing, bud? Is he just sitting there like in the view downtown Pittsburgh going, yeah, it's a pretty city.
But that's the thing. We went from Rutherford, who just made deals because he was bored, to Hextall, who does the exact opposite. And I don't know.
Rutherford back. At least he made things interesting. Sure, he didn't make we all make mistakes, and he did too. But Rutherford did more good than he did harm.
Right. He also did good things.
Hextall's done more bad than good. So.
Well, and what really surprises me is I thought Burke would have a stronger influence.
Yeah.
Because Burke is known for being.
I love Burke.
Yeah, he's known for being kind of like active on the market, if you will, and he's a big risk taker. Yeah.
Yes.
He did that with Anaheim. He even did that with Toronto. His whole history, that's been his MO. So I'm really, because I think about other teams who have like the presidents and then the GMs, the presidents seem to have substantial, like I look at Columbus, they brought back John Davidson. John Davidson has a very strong influence over Jarmo Kekalainen. And I kind of expected that similar dynamic with Ron Burke and or Brian Burke and Ron Hextall. And I almost wonder if those two even like each other.
You know what? That's a good point you brought up, Ash, because I noticed them when they were in Montreal, and they kept going up to the box where the Burke and Hextall were sitting. And I know they've got to keep distance, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or do they? I don't even know. But I did pick up on like this kind of a negative energy. Like between, like, how you can kind of read a room when you come into a room and you can read the energy. I was not reading a good energy there, regardless that they were sitting away from each other, but it was just, they weren't engaged. They were just, it felt very cold to me. If I were to walk in that box, I would have been like, oh, get me a coat because it's really cold. I think that I think you might have hit the nail with the hammer on that one, because
I'm going to bring up the Yarmo and John Davidson thing again. Typically, those two sit together in the box. They're constantly talking to each other about the game, okay? And John Davidson was like that in his brief time back with the Rangers as well. So that was, again, the dynamic I expected. I felt from the very beginning when the Penguins hired Ron Hextall. Now, keep in mind, it is common to have a president and a GM, them being separate roles. But I almost got the feeling that Ron Hextall was not happy to have a president between him and I believe it would be, I think Burke reports to Morehouse. I think
he's here to sabotage our team. So I totally buy into what you're saying.
Of course, there's no chemistry in the front office. There's no chemistry on the ice. Of course, there's not going to be chemistry in the front office. It's all organization wide.
You know where the Penguins screwed up, and I've been saying this for a couple years, and I'm going to say it again. The Penguins screwed up when they let Guerin walk and go to Minnesota.
I don't know about that.
I said what I said. I said what I said.
How's Minnesota doing?
Very well, actually.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually in the market to buy myself a Minnesota Wild hoodie. I don't know why, but I just
I will tell you what. I was at the Wild Lightning game last night, and the Wild. It's funny. They had their backup goalie in, and he was terrible. But they came back from two separate 2-goal deficits and took it to a shootout. They wound up losing, but still, like, I'm watching the energy from the Wild, and it's a complete 180 from the Penguins.
They're on
those
top
guys
of the
want to
Central.
be there.
So hey,
those guys want to be there. Those guys want to be there. And think about even last season when they played Vegas and took them to 7. They were completely outmanned by Vegas, but they took them to 7.
Didn't they get rid of Zach Parise and what's his face? The other big contract?
Yeah, they got rid of Parise and Suter. Yep. They bought him out.
Suter?
Yeah. Suter's with, I think, Dallas, and Parise's with the Islanders.
Energy is very important.
Yeah. And I mean, they've got a lot of young guys. They've got some veterans. 36-year-old Alex Goligoski's playing with Minnesota and actually looked decent.
Didn't he play for the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Yeah.
Years ago, yes.
He's the one that we traded Phil Kessel for.
Was it?
Yeah. It was. Oh, am I thinking of Galchenyuk?
You're thinking of Galchenyuk. No,
wait, Alex Goligoski. No, Alex Goligoski was like
that's like
20 years ago.
Yeah,
Go-Go.
I know that Goligoski's still in the league.
Go-Go. I remember going to Penguins games and people screaming, "Hit him with your purse, Goligoski."
Yeah, I remember seeing Alex Goligoski in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah, Goligoski was supposed to be. He was the hot young defenseman 20 years ago.
Correct. He's still in the league.
Back. Wow.
I can't believe I didn't even pay attention to the Pittsburgh Penguins until 2015, unless they were playing my team. But even then, I was like, who are these idiots? Get off my screen.
Now, if I remember correctly, was Goligoski traded to Dallas for James Neal?
Ugh.
I think I don't like that.
I believe that's the trade.
You would know better than me because I mean,
and it would have been 2012 if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, that sounds like it. No, wait, or was he traded? We'll find out.
I want to say Goligoski to Dallas with somebody else for James Neal. Because then James Neal was traded to Nashville a couple years later for Hornquist and Spalling.
I don't like James Neal.
Was on the team. He was on the 2009 Stanley Cup team.
Yes, he was. He was a 7th defenseman.
You nailed it. That was the trade. February 21st, 2011. Goligoski to Dallas for James Neal and Matt Niskanen.
That's who
Ooh,
I was thinking of. Matt Niskanen, blast from the past.
What was Niskanen's last team? Was it the Islanders?
Caps, or no, Flyers.
Really?
Ugh.
Yeah, he was with the Flyers. He
Well,
was
I
with the
just blew
Caps, won the cup with them, and then the Flyers. Yeah. Man, oh man, oh man.
Okay, we've got all nostalgic.
My
and I wanna get-
my Bill Guerin argument's valid. I'm just saying that right now.
Okay, can we talk quickly about the defense? Our defense, current defense right now, defense this year, 2021 defense.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's get how do we feel about
isn't Pedersen doing really well?
he's trying hard.
I heard Dumoulin is doing
Her reaction. I can't help myself.
That's why I love doing this on video. It adds a whole other dimension. It's dying.
Until we playoffs, so we do a show right after, and then me and Joe cry again.
We're not doing that again.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
I heard Dumoulin is struggling because, well, I mean, who knows, COVID or whatever. But Pedersen is playing well, and yeah, we still have Chad Ruido. Great. And Matheson
kind of went down when we lost his mate. Who was that guy? He went to
CC.
Did he go to Calgary? He went to Alberta. Was it Calgary?
I don't know, but that was
a good pairing. I like that pairing. They fed off each other well. Marino and Pedersen. Okay, sure. Pedersen is trying. He's trying. He's making an effort, and I appreciate that. I will take that. Marino's been a little quiet. I mean, we saw a lot out of Marino when he first joined or came up to the blah. Dumoulin is a little shaken. Is it because he got COVID? No, he's been sick before. He's had flus and colds and all this stuff. This is a good example as to this dynamic that's shifted in the organization where it's not fluid. It's not comfortable. They're not comfortable with one another. It feels too mechanical because Brian Dumoulin is one of the most fun players to watch when he's at the top of his game. And he just doesn't seem to be enjoying himself. And it shows in his play.
It's kind of like he kind of reminds me of Justin Schultz towards the end.
Didn't Schultz get a goal against us the other last week?
I believe so.
I hate watching the Capitals play the Penguins because I'm like, I miss you and I miss you. Don't high five Ovechkin. Get away from him. And then Connor, my boy. He scored 2, I think. Oh my god.
He always scores against the Penguins.
Team. What's that?
He always scores against the Penguins.
Oh, I love him to death. That little kid.
So the other pairing. Okay, so we're talking. So it was Pedersen, Marino,
Dumo Letang, and Matheson Ruido.
Okay, so we have 2 lines. 2 pairings, sorry.
Basically. I mean, is it time to worry about Marino? Because great rookie year, not a great second year, and then this year, not sure how he's doing.
Switch the 2 pairings. Mix it up. This is a problem I have with Sullivan. Sully, if you're out there listening, give a little you know what? Better that I don't say this. But I'm just going to say hypothetically, mix them up a little bit. Even mix up Dumoulin and Letang. See what you can do. Now is the time to play around with your lineup. Not in the first round of the playoffs. Yes, I'm heated. But now is the time. Mix them up. See what else can come of it. Who knows? Maybe Marino and Dumoulin will shine like the North Star. We won't know unless we see it. And I don't mean one shift, a couple games. I think it's really important that we play around with our lineup now. Mind you, right now, I think our third our third forwards line is like the most exciting to watch. Like I literally get excited. Heinen, Rodriguez, and
Simone.
I love Simone. I care.
Although the Carter line has been terrible.
It's been terrible.
What happened to Boyle? Is he gone?
Why is he even here? Sorry.
Because he's big.
But he's not doing anything. Okay, so actually Boyle wasn't dressed last game. We had Zach Aston Reese, Teddy Bluger, and not Jamie McGinn. Is it Jamie McGinn?
Brock
McGinn.
McGinn.
I worked with his brother. One of my first coaching jobs in hockey ever was with Jamie. So
Do we know when Malkin's coming back?
never.
Because I heard,
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I heard December, and December is coming soon. Winter is coming. Malkin is coming.
What's going on? Why
Deep breaths.
isn't he playing?
Well, Malkin's.
See, I take
He had that.
No.
How's your handwriting?
horrid.
Yeah, mine is terrible too.
Horrid. I've been
But-
actually working on it, but it's like, what's happened? It's like my hand is like equivalent to the penguin's fluidity. There isn't.
It's I hardly ever write anything. So, but when Malkin comes back, what's going to happen with the lines?
Okay, I can tell you.
Okay. Is
So we're
Zucker going to stay on that? Like Malkin and Kapanen are good together, but Zucker and Malkin are not. So Zucker's going to have to move down with.
Carter will go third line center. See, I don't know though. I really like our third line right now. I mean, if
Do you
anyone
throw
has to
Malkin on the
go,
wing?
who?
Do you throw Malkin on the wing instead of having him as a center?
No, you got to make him a center.
Russian heavy head. No, that'll affect his ego too much, and he'll be like, "I don't play. I center. This is
It was
where
a
I go."
hypothetical question. I knew the answer was no.
But
I know
okay,
it's smart, but hey,
who leaves the line?
think-
It's going to have to be Rodriguez, right?
no, not with how he's been playing. No, but he can go on the wing. So, but that third, you know what? I would dump the third line to the fourth line. I'd bring down Carter. I'd play. You know what? Carter and McGinn would be fun and start. Yes, this is what I'm going to do. Like, because I'm Sullivan, right? So we keep the first line the same. We move in. We drop Carter for Gino. Carter goes down to the third line, stays center because he's been phenomenal there. We move the third line of, you know what? Though Simone might get the boot.
Simone, I think,
might
is
get
on
the
the out
boot.
here.
Simone and Bluger are the two players we'll see go. You know what though? It could be Aston Reese too, because he's kind
That's
of
what I was
been.
just saying. I think it could be Aston Reese.
I really think that
No, you can't break up Bluger and Aston Reese and McGinn.
I agree with that. They've been playing well defensively, but
they're-
I think
they're-
one of them might have to go.
it would be Bluger.
Gonna
Sorry.
be interesting.
I mean, if it's up to me, you just leave
Oh
Malkin
no, you
out of the
can't get rid of
equation.
Bluger.
Yeah.
No.
Gino is a third line center.
You leave Bluger alone. Bluger is awesome.
I need
You
to
know
go
what?
get the
His very
dog.
first game in Pittsburgh, I was on the ice during warm-ups with his family, and it was really kind of because they were right beside me, and it was kind of like, you know, this warm and fuzzy feeling, and you got to take it all in. But I mean, Bluger, he's, you know, he gets sent back down because he can get some conditioning.
No, Simone goes.
No, you're right. For me, it's Simone or Bluger. But for some reason, I've got a sweet spot for Simone. I don't know why, but I have.
Danton
forever.
Heinen, is he a pleasant surprise?
He was so much so that I actually took him on my fantasy team. But
Oh yeah.
I haven't been impressed so much with him in the last couple of games. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean he's better on the first line, but where did Ashley go? Ashley's.
We lost Ash.
I'm
Ash.
here. I had to
Okay.
turn off my video because I had to get the dog. He was barking at a squirrel.
My dog has come to accept that she'll never get a squirrel, and
Oh no,
She's the size of-
he's caught a few possums.
ooh,
Oh,
whoa.
cute.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got one that lives around the neighborhood. I love him.
He doesn't.
I need to-
This guy doesn't mess around. He knows what's up.
Okay. Well, on that note,
There we go. Yeah.
we must put this. We must close this out. So any closing thoughts? My closing thought is they're going 8-2 in their next 10, and I wish I could bet.
Well, don't bet anything because you'll lose. Let's make some predictions for tonight's game though. Ash?
I say they lose 4-2.
They're gonna win.
I'm like, man, you're getting 2 past Hellebuck. That's nice.
I'm going
Listen,
for it.
I have to say, I need Hellebuck to play well because let's face it, he's likely going to be the starter for the Americans. So, as
you guys are
Americans,
toast.
Joe and I
Yeah,
I mean,
don't
yeah,
even
they're
show up.
toast,
Yes.
except in goal.
The U.S. team needs to play very strong so that we can hope to get silver when Canada gets
Exactly.
the gold. But
Exactly.
Or Czech or Finland. But listen, I'm going 4-3 Winnipeg.
I'm going 2-1 Pittsburgh.
All right. So we'll see
I
who
was
wins.
I was right. I predicted the Steelers would lose. So there you go.
I mean,
Haven't
I'm
they
about to
lost a lot?
watch Monday Night Football and watch my Giants lose by 17.
Doesn't Pittsburgh have a new sports team? Some sort of maniac or something?
I think that the Pittsburgh Maulers are back of the USFL.
I don't know what that is, but I need a hat.
You know what? It's a cool logo. It's just weird that they chose purple and orange as their colors. Like, hey guys, black and gold is our thing. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing with purple?
Can we start a campaign to have that switched? Purple and orange? Orange doesn't belong in Pittsburgh.
Here, that actually has, I don't know if this is true or not, but that actually has a Penguins connection. The owner of the Penguins in the 80s was the Bartolo family. The Bartolo family made their money by having malls, which I believe they still do. And that's why they were called the Pittsburgh Maulers, because the mall business. I don't know whether that's true or not, but that sounds interesting.
Colorblind, so I wouldn't be shopping in that mall.
All right, guys. I am so glad we got to talk again. It was way too long, but let's talk in a couple weeks when I'm going to rub it in your face that the Penguins went 8-2, and I'm so good. I'm going to play this back how pessimistic you two were. You'll see.
Fair enough.
I hope you like disappointment.
Happy American
Bye,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. All right.
Thanksgiving, guys.
Bye.
See everybody.